Elizabeth Short, often known as the Black Dahlia, was an American woman who was found slain in the Leimert Park district of Los Angeles, California, on January 15, 1947. Her case gained a lot of media attention due to the horrifying nature of the crime, which included the corpse being split in half at the waist. She was the third of 5 daughters of Cleo Alvin Short Jr. and his wife, Phoebe May Sawyer. Her sisters were Virginia May West, Dorothea Schlosser, Elnora Chalmers, and Muriel. Her father, Cleo Alvin, was a United States Navy troop, while her mother, Phoebe May, was a housewife. They were married in Portland, Cumberland, in 1918. The Short family briefly relocated to Portland, Maine, in 1927. Before settling in Medford, Massachusetts, a suburb of Boston, that same year. Short's father built miniature golf courses until he lost most of his savings in the stock market. Short spent her formative years in both Florida and New England before going to California, where her father resided. Despite the fact that she has no recorded acting credits or jobs from her stay in Los Angeles, it is widely believed that she was an aspiring actor. After her death, she would be given the moniker Black Dahlia, since newspapers at the time frequently referred to. Short accepted a position at Camp Cook, now Vandenberg Space Force Base, in the nearby Lompoc area, where she briefly shared a residence with a U.S. Army Air Force sergeant who allegedly mistreated her. She moved to Santa Barbara after leaving Lompoc in the middle of 1943, when she was detained on September 23, 1943, for consuming alcohol at a neighborhood tavern while underage. She was sent to Massachusetts by juvenile authorities, but she instead went back to Florida, only occasionally traveling to see her relatives in the Boston area. Short met Major Matthew Michael Gordon Jr. when he was training in Florida to be deployed to Southeast Asia during World War II. Major Gordon is a decorated Army Air Force officer from the 2nd Air Commando Group. Gordon had written to Short to propose marriage. Short later revealed the good news to her friends. Short moved to Los Angeles in July 1946 to meet Army Air Force Lieutenant Joseph Gordon Fickling, an acquaintance from Florida stationed at the Naval Reserve Air Base in Long Beach. Short spent the majority of the final 6 months of her life in the Los Angeles area of Southern California, where she had recently started working as a server. Short also rented a room behind the Florentine Gardens nightclub on Hollywood Boulevard soon before her passing. She has been referred to and portrayed in numerous ways as a potential or would-be actor. Despite the fact that she had no recognized performing roles or credentials, other sources claim that she did in fact have aspirations to be a film star. Short traveled to San Diego for a brief period of time with Robert Red Manley, a married businessman who was 25 years old, before returning to her Los Angeles home on January 9, 1947. Short was to meet her sister, who was traveling from Boston, that afternoon, according to Manley, who claimed to have left her off at the Biltmore Hotel in downtown Los Angeles. Some Biltmore employees claimed to have witnessed Short using the telephone in the lobby. She was purportedly observed shortly after by guests at the Crown Grill Cocktail Lounge, located at 754 South Olive Street, close to Biltmore. Short's naked, dismembered body was discovered in a vacant lot on the morning of January 15, 1947, in the Leimert Park area. Leimert Park was largely undeveloped at the time. Local resident Betty Berzinger initially believed she had found an abandoned store mannequin when she came across the body at around 10 a.m. while out strolling with her daughter, age 3. She hurried to a nearby residence and called the police as soon as she discovered it was a dead body. Short's body had been horribly damaged. It had been entirely severed at the waist and blood had been drained from it, turning her complexion a sickly white. Since the medical examiners estimated that she had been dead for about 10 hours before she was discovered, her passing most likely occurred either in the late afternoon or early morning on January 14 or 15. The murderer seemed to have washed the body. The Glasgow smile was the result of slashing Short's face from her mouth's corners to her ears. She had numerous cuts where large chunks of flesh had been severed from her thighs and breasts. The corpse was in a posed position with her legs apart, elbows bent at right angles, and hands placed over her head. A caller claiming to be Short's killer called James Richardson, editor of The Examiner, on January 21, 1947, thanking Richardson for the paper's coverage of the case and announcing his intention to turn himself in at some point. but not before allowing police to pursue him further. The caller also instructed Richardson to expect some short things in the mail. A U.S. Postal Service employee discovered a suspicious manila envelope on January 24. The envelope's huge message on the front read, "Here is Dahlia's belongings letter to follow," and it was addressed to the Los Angeles Examiner and other Los Angeles papers, using words that had been copied and pasted from newspaper articles. Short's birth certificate, business cards, pictures, names scribbled on paper, and an address book with the name Mark Hansen embossed on the cover were all included in the envelope. Police believed the package was sent directly by Short's murderer because it had been meticulously cleaned with gasoline, just like her body. Several partial fingerprints were removed from the packet despite efforts to clean it, and they were forwarded to the FBI for examination. Unfortunately, the prints were contaminated in transit, so they could not be fully studied. The purse and a black suede shoe were reportedly observed on top of a trash can in an alleyway close to Norton Avenue, 2 miles from the crime site, the same day the packet was received by the Examiner. Police were able to recover the items, but all fingerprints were removed along with cleaning them with gasoline. Short's murder was a cold case with few leads by the spring of 1947. One of the case's primary detectives, Sergeant Finus Brown, accused the media of undermining the inquiry by asking questions about specifics and publishing unreliable information. A grand jury was called in September 1949 to review shortcomings in the LAPD's homicide division due to their failure to solve several murders, particularly those of women and children, over the preceding few years, including Short's. Following the grand jury, police conducted additional research into Short's past. They followed her movements between Massachusetts, California, and Florida and spoke with persons who knew her in Texas and New Orleans. However, nothing pertinent about the murder emerged from the interviews. Because the police were unable to discover the murder, the case was never solved. If you found this video informative, please subscribe and like. Also, comment below if you knew about this case, and let me know what I missed.